Disappointment in Bloomington, but you can't think about that too long because the Buckeyes are coming to town. Guys, very disappointing what happened in Bloomington the other day. Just shouldn't happen. I thought it was going to be a close game, but I didn't think that they would lose. Um, I predicted they'd be losing it at halftime. I didn't think they'd be losing by 10. Um, and really, like, I'm not surprised they made a few mistakes, but all the mistakes they made were, for the most part, unacceptable. I mean, in the first half alone, um, you have the two Clifford interceptions, which were both bad, by the way. It's not even like it was a great play by the secondary or, it was a tip ball at the line of scrimmage and it popped in the air and somebody got it. It had nothing to do with it. It was just Clifford making horrible throws. And then, uh, obviously, the Levis fumble deep in Indiana territory. And then we get the ball right back after they fumble. Um, and we kick a field goal, a 25-yard field goal, and we can't even make it. I mean, I can get high school kickers around the state to kick for Penn State and make that. While we recruited Jake Pinniger, and he can't even make a 25-yarder in a pretty important game, and it's very disappointing. It is what it is, but and that's just the first half. The second half they played better, but still they were stupid in multiple areas. Once they took the lead and then got the ball back, defense played really well late in the game. At that point, everybody needs to understand the situation. Everybody. Either take just three knees and kick a field goal, and that'll give you a 4-point lead with about 10 seconds left for Indiana to try and maybe throw a Hail Mary or something. That's worst case scenario, assuming that Penner can make the field goal. And even if he doesn't, they're still probably not going to have enough time to drive down the field and have a field goal opportunity of their own. So take three knees, and they still would only have a very small amount of time on the clock. And then, other than that, then you got once once they take once they get the touchdown and the 2-point conversion to tie it up, um, which was very unacceptable. We can't just let the defense do this. Like the defense played well on that one drive they needed to. Okay, and then once the offense screwed up and scored, um, the defense, I was pretty confident still because I was like, okay, fine, we're giving them a chance, but they only got about 2 minutes left. The defense just um, had them go 4 and out, and you know, well, even if they get a touchdown, they need a 2-point conversion, and that's what they got. They got the touchdown and the 2-point conversion. I was very disappointed with the defense in that situation, and then we get the ball back, luckily, at about midfield after they squib it, and we recover at about maybe the 50-yard line. And then we get close enough with about 8 seconds left to get like a 55 yard or whatever. And we didn't have any timeouts, but I think we should have still ran another play. That's a really long field goal, especially in college, and it's just you have another opportunity to run another play. Now, I understand like you don't want to mess around or do anything stupid, but you you can run a quick out to somebody out to the sideline, and if it's not there, just simply throw it away. Just run a quick play, have a receiver break towards the sideline. If he's open, throw it to him. He gets out of bounds, you get a few extra yards. If he's not open, just throw it out of bounds and try a field goal. But I'd love to at least see them try instead of just try a long field goal with 8 seconds left where you can possibly get more yardage. Um, and that's just another stupid play. And then in overtime, they score. Um, I was pretty confident at that point. I was thinking almost like the App State game. I was like, okay, so 2 years ago, this kind of thing happened. We looked like we were going to win, then we screwed it up, and then we go to overtime, we score, and then we'll prevent them from scoring. Well, that obviously didn't happen. They scored, and then 2 point conversion comes, and this is like a controversial play. I thought he was short. I didn't think he got in. Um, it was really close. He definitely the ball definitely came down out of bounds before he touched the pylon. But the the thing that made them kind of wary was okay, maybe the nose of the ball broke the plane before it touched the pylon, so they thought maybe. I didn't think it did, but obviously they called it a touchdown on the field, so there's no conclusive evidence to overturn it, and that's your ball game. And it's funny we dropped 10 spots because of like an inch or 2 inches. Now let's say Michael Penix is about an inch shorter. Um, do we drop 10 spots in the AP poll? Let's say he didn't stretch out with um his one arm and did it with his other arm and wasn't able to reach the goal line. Would we still drop 10 spots? Are we really that much different if we won? Because obviously, if we would have won this game, we'd be talking a lot different than we were before. And if they called that no good on the 2 point conversion, then would probably be still in the top, at least top 15. But it's just it is what it is. But we have a game coming up that they can redeem themselves. Um, Obviously, this game is a must-win game if you still want to talk about making the playoff, win the Big Ten. Um, at this point, I'm very, very skeptical of even playing Ohio State in a close game because Indiana, I knew they were going to be pretty good this season, but still, like for example, Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama, they'd probably be able to beat Indiana by a couple touchdowns, 20 points at least, and that's just we can't close them out. It's like it's just disappointing. It's ridiculous. It shouldn't be happening. Um, and we're gonna go up against Ohio State at home, and like I said, they have a chance to redeem themselves. If they win that game, all is forgiven, I think. But if they lose, then the season is basically officially over. You're just kind of playing for pride at that point. Because then you need like Ohio State to lose 3 games out of 6, which isn't going to happen. And I think we might be staring down the barrel of 5-3 season. Michigan looked pretty good against Minnesota. We play them week 6. If we lose to them and lose to Ohio State, we'll be 5-3, assuming we beat everybody else, which you can't really assume that. And it's just like I said, very unfortunate. Um, but season isn't officially over yet. I know it's not looking good, but we can't get too down on ourselves. All right, let's get into Ohio State. Ohio State, obviously a great team. They beat Nebraska 52-17. number three team in the country right now. People are saying, oh, they only played one game, they're not deserving of it. I think that um, everybody knows that if they played more games, they'd be have a lot better record than 1-0. So I think that's why they're three. Like for example, if you kept Notre Dame there, they barely won 12-7. I can't remember who it was against, but against somebody that wasn't even that good, and they were three. If they're deserving of three, Ohio State is certainly deserving of three, and um, it's just Justin Fields will think will be the big playmaker. I'm not really concerned about the running backs. I really not like. Obviously, they have some talent there at running back, Master Teague and Trey Sermon, but I'm not gonna fret about the running game. They didn't look good against Nebraska, and I think we have a much better front seven than Nebraska does. They lost a lot of guys from last season on that front seven. We have a more talented, I think, more experienced front seven than Nebraska does, and they weren't able to run the ball. Justin Fields got sacked a few times too. I think we should be able to dial up some pressure on Fields. I don't think we were able to do that as much last year. I think they had a better O line, or about as good as O line maybe. But I don't think they really improved at the O line, even though they got a couple good guys. Um, losing J.K. Dobbins is a killer for them because it's just I think he was arguably a top five player in the country last year, J.K. Dobbins, and he was a beast. But he's gone now. Sermon and Teague are certainly capable, but I don't think that they'll be able to run it down our throats. And then the big question is, how are we going to do in the passing game? Well, the secondary looked a heck of a lot better against Indiana this year than it did last year. Last year, they gave up way too many big plays to Indiana. Um, the thing is that the difference between last year against Indiana is this year is that we turned the ball over a lot more and made stupid mistakes. Like if we didn't make a few mistakes that um, if they would have gone the other way, then we would have won that game probably by at least seven. But well, anyways, this time around against Ohio State, Fields is obviously the guy that you need to worry about. You don't have to worry about Jeff Okuda or Chase Young on defense. They got still some good guys like Sean Wade. Haskell Garrett's a good D tackle, some good linebackers. They always got a great secondary, but I honestly don't think their defense is as good. Um, I think they had to replace a lot of guys, even though they got some talent there. Um, I think our I think our defensive front is better than theirs. I think our secondary is worse than theirs, but it's probably not too far off. And on the offense side of the ball, hopefully Kirk Shiraka has some good plan for him because I didn't see like I think a lot of people were hoping to see what um, remember like the Penn State Minnesota game last year. I think a lot of people were expecting just amazing dominance from the offensive side of the ball, or like receivers running open everywhere, and we didn't really see that. We just saw a lot of running the ball and trying to stuff it down Indiana's throat, and it worked. It worked. I mean, we scored um 28 points, which isn't is okay. I mean, but like we ran really well on them. But well, we scored 35 counting overtime at 28 in regulation. But anyways, it's uh it's a good offense, I think. Once you assemble all the pieces, which I'm just nervous about our receivers and will they be able to create separation against um, Ohio State's secondary. Okay, because Ohio State's secondary is always elite, and I'm confident in Jahan Dotson. I think he'll do okay. But we need guys like Parker Washington, Daniel George, Cam Sullivan Brown, Keandre Lambert. We need some guys to be able to become really reliable targets. And Pat Freiermuth needs to do his thing. He needs to have a good game. The O line needs to stay steady, make sure that Clifford's not under pressure a lot, and because they don't have to worry about Chase Young this year. That was the big worry. The game plan around Chase Young, all that, and they don't have to worry about that this year. They don't have any elite playmaker to me on defense like that. Sean Wade, first round pick, yes, but he's not Jeff Okuda last year, number three pick. Um, And they have nobody on their front seven that is anything like Chase Young was last year. So I think from that standpoint, we should be able to do better on the offensive side of the ball. Now, like I said, hopefully, I hope that Kirk Shiraka maybe was saving something for Ohio State because he knew that was the big game. Even win or lose against Indiana, if we can beat Ohio State, that would be huge, huge momentum builder. I hope that Shiraka has something planned because the offense will need to play better, specifically in the first half. It needs to come out hot. And we just need to make sure we don't get behind against Ohio State. We need because last year, we they spot us 3 touchdowns and we get back in the game, but at that point, um, once you score 17 straight, Ohio State's going to start trying a little harder. And at that point, we need to come out hot. We need to take them by surprise, kind of like what Minnesota did to us last year when they scored that touchdown real quickly, and they scored a whole lot in the first quarter, in the first half, and we kind of need to do the same thing. We need to take Ohio State, make them play comeback against us, which I know obviously hasn't worked well in the past in 2017 or 18, but that's how you're going to beat Ohio State. You got to get out ahead of them, then make them play comeback, and you got to withstand the comeback because they're gonna do everything they can, and they'll probably come close if even if you can get a good lead on them. But the key is making sure they only get close. They don't take the lead. Um, which obviously they didn't take care of in 2017 or 2018. Um, I think that we can do that. I think we have a good enough team. If you ask my honest opinion, though, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they lost by like 3 touchdowns. That's what I think is going to happen. But I still am hopeful they can play a good game with Ohio State and hang in there. I think they have enough talent to do that. Um, at the end of the day, we'll see. I think Ohio State's obviously a really good team, and there's a lot to be said for a team that just lost, though, and is fighting for their season at home for Penn State. And I think at the end of the day, we can beat Ohio State. And if we do, that'll obviously be huge for recruiting and for a bunch of other things. Um, we would be right back into the playoff hunt if we go undefeated the rest of the way if we beat Ohio State and win the Big Ten title, then we'll probably make the playoff. But we can't start thinking about that yet. We have to beat Ohio State. We have to beat Ohio State for that to happen. Um, yeah, and it's obviously a very big game. I love going to Ohio State week. It's always a big week. This year, no whiteout. Um, we lost, and so it doesn't feel as good as maybe it is in other years, but it's still a big deal to me. And I think that we can do some good things in this game, even if we lose. I think we can show the country that we're able to compete with a team like Ohio State. And if we start 0-2, obviously that'll look bad, but you know, we obviously have a lot easier schedule after Ohio State. We got Maryland, Iowa, Nebraska, um, and then we got Michigan, who I think could be like a toss-up game this year. And then finish with Rutgers and Michigan State. Oh, should be 2 easy wins. Should be. Rutgers look better, but I don't know how much of that is Rutgers and how much that's Michigan State. But yeah, I think overall this season could still be a good year, even with a loss to Ohio State. Obviously, it can become playoff year maybe if we beat Ohio State. So this game, we'll see what this team's made of. Let's just put it that way. After a tough loss, Noah Cain's out for the season now. Um, I still feel like we have some good running backs. They showed some good things. We have a good O line. Um, the key is to me, I think up front we'll be fine against Ohio State. What I'm worried about is on the outside. Are our playmakers good enough to match up with their playmakers? If we can withstand their onslaught on the outside with Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, and their couple good true freshmen they have at receiver, if we can withstand that, I think we can do fine. And then on the offensive side of the ball, if our receivers can create enough separation against their secondary and make some plays, I think that we'll be able to go toe to toe with Ohio State and have a real good shot at winning. And I think that's what it's going to come down to. I'm pretty confident, like I said, in the front seven and the O line coming into this game. It's just going to depend on how well Sean Clifford and the receivers can do, I think. And, as long as you can get a decent running game and, hopefully we have a good game plan for him. If we can upset Ohio State, that changes everything and makes us into a playoff contender and arguably the favorite to win the Big Ten at that point, because then we would have the tiebreaker of Ohio State. And then, if Indiana would have to lose 2 games, which is possible. They have Michigan and Ohio State still, and even if they only lose to Ohio State, that would put us in a three-way tiebreaker. It depends how I don't know how what the tie-breaking situation would work after that. We'd have to see at the end of the year, but obviously, like I said, getting ahead of myself, none of that's possible without a win against Ohio State. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we're going to get from this Penn State team. I hope they haven't given up because right now I'm not very confident, but hopefully they're still confident and understand that um, what they're capable of, and I hope they're motivated to go out and show what they can do against Ohio State. All right, thank you guys. Next week we'll have Ohio State reaction preview against Maryland. Thank you. We are Penn State.